Frank, a couple of things to knock off and a few rumblings coming in around the league over the weekend. Let's start in Vancouver, where there is some talk about a Nikita Zadorov extension. Smoke, fire, or false alarm on some of the reports that these two sides are maybe inching closer?
Smoke. I don't think it's fire just yet because the Zadorov camp is pretty confident that they can get a nice deal on the open market. However, I do think the Canucks are working multiple angles at once. And you heard Rick Tocchet sort of wax poetic about Zadorov and his impact throughout the playoffs. He talked about how much of a breath of fresh air he was in their locker room. He talked about his impact in the game and his physicality. Obviously, the size is something that he's a big believer in, given how much Zadorov and Tyler Myers played in the Canucks 2 rounds. So he's a believer in all those things, and I'd have to think that that weighs pretty heavily on Patrick Allvin and Jim Rutherford to try and get something done. I don't think that they were particularly close in their first go round at this, but I wonder if they continue to talk here, if they can try and find a solution, because there is a bit of a game of chicken here. You like the situation in Vancouver, you liked the team and liked living there. You better be darn sure that whatever you think you can get on the open market is exactly what you think it is.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing you'd want to do, obviously, is overplay your hand in the way, what John Klingberg did a number of years ago, where the market passes you by and you go, oh my God, I passed up on all my best offers thinking I could get more. And it's, to an extent, sometimes a game of musical chairs in free agency, right? Especially in the hard cap world, everyone finds their partner. Everyone's got someone to dance with. You could be sitting there on the outside. The second name.
I was going to say, and who's kidding who? It's June 17th, but I can bet you that there's already been some money spent for July 1st, even though we didn't get there yet.
What? No, Frank, no one's tampering. Come on, don't be throwing that out there. Second name I had for you. We saw Kaapo Kakko sign the 1-year deal with the New York Rangers, $2.4 million, basically signing his qualifying offer in the form of a 1-year extension. But there's still been some rumblings about him maybe being on the move. I know last time you did your trade targets, he came in that 2021 range. Kakko's future and the trade rumors surrounding him and the Rangers with that extension. Is it smoke? Is it fire? Is it a false alarm? Or did that extension, was that just a big pot of cold water on the fire?
Yeah, I think that's a false alarm.
Okay.
Or maybe better accurate is a fire that's, as you mentioned, been extinguished, because I think the tough part was the qualifying offer. And obviously they get there, he signs it. It's exactly what it would have been had it been out there, and they're able to get away and get some cost certainty and put that in their back pocket. I don't think they're looking to move him. I think they're hoping that he has a bounce back year, but don't mistake the fact that this is a huge upcoming season for Kakko and determining where his future hockey is going to be played, because the Rangers, he had a tough run this year. He had a tough playoff, was a healthy scratch at one point. I think watching the development of Alexis Lafreniere this year is yet another reminder that this isn't always a straight line. And I think that's part of the reason why they don't want to give up on him too soon, but he needs to show some more, because at some point you can't afford to be paying players that rate, especially when you have a Barclay Goodrow at 3.6 centering your fourth line, for instance. Even though he had a great playoff, you can't have too many guys that are out of whack on the salary cap playing in your bottom 6.
Yeah. You look at the Rangers here, and they only have a projected, $9.2 million in cap space, but that is with 13 forwards signed. That's 4 defensemen signed. 2 of the RFAs that they should get done are Lindgren and Schneider, and that's 2 goalies under contract. I know when they got eliminated, I said it's going to be a long summer for Rangers fans, simply because I didn't think they'd get up to a lot, and it's just going to be a long summer of waiting around. As the weeks have gone on here and we inch closer to the draft, do you still agree with that and what I'm saying there? Do you think there's a chance Chris Drury just gets itchy at some point to maybe try overhaul a couple areas of this roster?
Yeah, I don't know if overhaul is the right term. I would say supplement.
Okay.
And I would say that just look at the posture of the Rangers previously. This year, they wanted to be aggressive and just didn't. They set their sights on Jake Gensel and it didn't work. Carolina had, Pittsburgh determined that Carolina had the better offer. When that's the case, I like the way that they checked down and went with Wenberg who was a really cost-efficient acquisition, and Roslovic, who actually fit in really quite well for them. So they made some really smart moves, but think back to previous trade deadlines. They were ultra aggressive, whether it was Tarasenko and Kane, or, the year before that with Kopp and the other guys that they had brought in and spent first-round picks on. This is a team that doesn't sit idly and wait. They go out and try and grab it. And so I wouldn't be shocked to see them in the mix on a free agent or two if they can rejig their roster a little bit, but not overhaul, just try and find a way to supplement.
What's up, hockey fans? If you enjoyed that video, then you need to be hitting the subscribe button right here at Daily Faceoff. Exclusive interviews and analysis from our hockey insider Frank Seravalli, fantasy updates from Brock Sagan, and a daily live show at noon Eastern, Monday through Friday. You don't want to miss any of the fantastic content, so hit that subscribe button.